let me tell you something. It is so dangerous to not cultivate your own sense of value about yourself. Because if you don't cultivate your own sense of value, everyone else's, societies, individuals, industries, jobs, employers, whatever, everyone else is going to project their sense of value onto you. It's not going to be you, and it's going to hurt your feelings. It's going to hurt your feelings, and you're going to be offended. Because this is the thing. A lot of us have these negative automations that we really need to sit with and take a look at. If someone doesn't find you attractive, some of us negatively automate to, oh, I'm not attractive. Oh, this person I was really attracted to, they said that I'm not attractive, which means I'm not attractive and no one else is going to be attracted to me. And now we're spiraling. Now we're on sinking sand with our self-esteem. Now our self-esteem is so compressed that we can't even see ourselves. Like, when did, someone not being attracted to you mean that you weren't attractive? When did a job not valuing your skill set or valuing your background or your experience mean that your experience and stuff and your skill set isn't valuable? Some of us are enmeshing our sense of value with another sense of value. And it's so important that we have got to distinguish them, because they are two different things. Society might value a person that looks like this. And then if you don't look like that, you're questioning, am I even worth something? Am I even valuable? And that's a very normal thing. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and gaslight you and make it seem like that's not. Us human beings, we're here to be loved. That's why we all came here. We have all come here to be loved. And in terms of being loved, there is an aspect of mirroring that we're all looking for. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's an aspect of, I feel this way about me and I want you to accept me, because love is acceptance. So oftentimes when in your childhood, within your upbringing, whether it was your parental dynamic or school, social dynamic, whatever it was, oftentimes when you're not properly mirrored to, when you're not properly validated, when you're not valued in your home, valued in your school, valued in the larger society that you exist in as a child, you grow up with sort of this sensitivity towards being invalidated. And when you grow up with that sort of like predisposition for being invalidated, it becomes a weapon that you start to use on yourself. And that's how you create that negative automation that I was talking about earlier. That's how, if somebody says you're not attractive, you automatically say, oh, I'm not attractive. They don't think I'm attractive. I'm not attractive. You negatively automate to whatever that person's sense of value is, because you learn to invalidate yourself, because in your childhood, all you were invalidated. Nobody told you you were beautiful. Nobody told you you were smart, or somebody told you it, but then you were told it at home, but then you weren't told it in school, or you were told it in school, but then your parents didn't treat you like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you grow up with sort of this wounding around being invalidated, it becomes a tool that you use to protect yourself. And that's what happens with that spiraling thinking. Like, oh, this person doesn't find me attractive. Nobody's ever gonna find me attractive. Blah, blah, blah. I'm never gonna be attractive. I'm never gonna find nobody. I'm never gonna, like, all of that sort of neuroses that happens when someone rejects you. It spirals out of control, because that wound of invalidation goes so deep within you that it's hard for you to take a step back and see that, oh, this person doesn't find me attractive because they fall in line with societal's beauty standards. But I find me attractive even though I don't fit society's beauty standards. Society's beauty standards are not my beauty standards, because the truth is, value is in the eye of the beholder, just like beauty. What I find attractive might not be what you find attractive. What you value might not be what I value. That's okay. That is the interdependence of perspective of reality. We don't need to value the same things, because if we did value the same exact things, other things wouldn't exist. I don't value, traffic. So I would have never even thought to create traffic lights, but someone else out there in the world values an orderly fashion of running traffic. Like, we value different things because a lot of our value, shows us, because what we value about another is usually what we value about ourselves. If I really, really value your sense of humor, I more than likely value humor. In general, I value my own sense of humor and I like to laugh. Like, that's sort of how value works. We kind of reflect it off of ourselves and then project it onto the world, onto another. That's sort of how things work. I don't necessarily value the wilderness, but thank God other people value the wilderness, because I have oxygen to breathe because of trees. So the whole point of what I'm trying to say is, I just want you to have your own sense of value about yourself. It's so important, because you can't create a world. You can't create your life. You can't even make decisions that are in your benefit as opposed to being in your detriment. You can't even make decisions that are in your benefit if you don't have a base layer of self-esteem. And you have to begin to cultivate that within yourself. And that process feels so daunting when you have invalidated yourself for as long as you have. And the reason that you have invalidated yourself for as long as you have is because in your upbringing, you were so invalidated. And I think that's the hard part. I think that's the hard part, because as an adult, when it comes to healing, you are working through, oh, I didn't have this as a child, or I didn't learn this as a child, or I wasn't properly loved or nourished or nurtured as a child. And as an adult, you have to look back at your childhood and say, man, that really effing sucks. I have a lot of compassion for myself. It sucks that I didn't get the childhood that I wanted, or that I found would be beneficial or helpful for me, or my mother just didn't have the capacity that I would have wanted her to. That really effing sucks. Or the school system I was in the social environment I was put in, these kids, it was just crazy. It was nuts. There were bullies. It was just a hot ass mess. Like, you have to look at that and acknowledge it and validate yourself and have compassion for that self. And then, in working through having empathy for your child's self, you have to then take responsibility as the adult to say, I was missing all of these things as a child. So now I, as an adult, am responsible for giving it to myself. I had all of these needs as a child, and now me, as an adult, I have to give it to myself. That is daunting. And the issue is, a lot of us, when it comes to healing, it's easy for us to have compassion for the inner child, because who would look at a 9-year-old version of themselves and say, you deserve that. You deserve to be spoke to that way. You deserve to be, undervalued or talked to in a tone that was just violent. You deserved all of that. None of us are going to look at our child selves and say, we deserve mistreatment. None of us will. And we have to have compassion for that aspect of ourselves, but we can't stop there. Because if we stop there, we're constantly putting ourselves in a situation of, oh, well, it was my mom's fault. It was my family's fault. It was the school system's fault. It was all those bullies' fault. It was all of that. And this is the thing. There's layers to it. Yeah, some of it was their fault. It was your parents' responsibility to caretake you. Yes, you are valid in feeling that way. And then in feeling that way and acknowledging yourself in that way and having compassion for yourself in that way, you have to then progress to the next level, or else your healing won't be complete. If you stop at, it was such and such's fault, and that shouldn't have happened to me, and I didn't deserve that, and da da da, and woe is me, woe is me. If you stop right there, you're always going to be operating in life as a victim. You're always going to have a chip on your shoulder. You're always going to be offended by your past. If you stop at that level, you have to then progress to the next level of healing, which is, okay, now that I'm aware that all these needs were not met in my childhood, and I still must have these needs because I'm out here in the world asking for the world to validate me, asking for the world to mirror me, and that is not the world's responsibility. I have to acknowledge that and say, oh, I've got a lot of inner work to do. I got a lot of inner work to do on cultivating a sense of self, on valuing myself. I got a lot of work to do because the world is torturous. If you want to use it as a source of validation, it's never going to validate you. And then the times that it does validate you will be very, fickle. The job might value you at the beginning of when you're hired, and a year in, when it's time for you to get a promotion based off of what you did, they may no longer value you because they're back to valuing them, which is saying, oh, well, we don't want to spend that much money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you cannot depend on anything outside of you to value you. And that is one of the hardest truths I've ever had to accept about my life. It's a really, really hard truth. And yet it still is the truth. So I really want to empower you. Cultivate your own sense of value. Get into you. Get into you. What do you like about you? What do you find attractive about you? What do you think is cool about you? What do you find valuable about your background? Your skill set, how you show up in the world, your fashion sense. What do you find valuable about yourself? And if you're asking yourself these questions and you can't think of an answer, that's how you know your sense of value is so enmeshed with societies, with other people's around you, because I promise you, you value something. That's why you look at things outside of you and you laugh, or you take delight in them, or you really, really want them, because they're a reflection of you. They're a reflection of you that you haven't accepted about yourself. A lot of us haven't accepted a lot of things about ourselves. One of the things that I really, really value is authenticity. Like, I love it. When people say things, especially in ways that lack decorum, or ways that, other people might perceive as that's inappropriate. It's inappropriate for you to just say that in the midst of this. I find that so valuable when people do that, because now I'm like, oh, now I can have a real conversation with you because you're not performing for your environment. I find that so valuable. What's another thing I find valuable? I don't know. The point is, even if you can't sit with yourself and find value within yourself, look outside of you to see what you find valuable, and then bring it back to yourself. And what you find valuable outside of you is always a reflection of you. One of the things I find so valuable is a sense of shamelessness. I love it when people are shameless. When people ain't got no shame about stuff. Like when they got my car repossessed. Yeah, I done had 5 eviction notices. Like when people say things that people are usually hold shame over, I find that so valuable, because I know that I'm really looking at someone that has a really healthy view of themselves. And that's really valuable to me, because I try my best. I try my best to have a healthy view of myself. And then I know that I'm dealing with someone that's not sort of catering to societal's standards of what they should or shouldn't be ashamed of. I love that kind of stuff. I love it when people are authentic and they say things people might perceive as inappropriate. I love that kind of stuff, because I know that I'm dealing with someone who is uniquely themselves, and I like to be uniquely myself. So I know that that's a part of my value system. So that's an example of what do you value outside of you? Like, if you were just learning how to establish your own sense of value of yourself and you're not ready yet, or you have been invalidating yourself for so long that you can't sit down and write down a whole list of things that you find valuable about you, start to pay attention to what you value outside of you, because that's always going to be a reflection of your own conscious expression, your own consciousness, your own sense of value to you, if that makes sense. One of the things I don't value when it comes to like dating, you know how people be like, girls be like, oh, you know, I just really want a sense of humor. I'm not a girl that values a sense of humor. Like, I mean, I think our sense of humors can be compatible, but I'm not trying to geek with you all the time. That's not what I'm trying to do. In dating, I value someone with a sense of purpose. Like, that's something that's like, oh, that's attractive. Okay, you trying to do what with your life? Oh, wow, you really want to have a meaningful impact in the world? Like that. And not that those things are mutually exclusive. Somebody with a sense of humor can obviously have a strong sense of purpose as well. I'm just saying, I'm not paying attention that much to your sense of humor. But somebody else, another woman, might be paying attention to your sense of humor, and she might be like, if you can't make me laugh, we can't really have a life together, because I want my life to be fun and I want it to be laughing and playing and, you know, all this sorts of thing. But that doesn't mean that a person is not valuable because I don't care about their sense of humor. That doesn't mean that, you know what I'm saying? And that's another way to look at it, and to sort of take yourself out of the idea of being offended by people. Look at other people and be like, I really value this person's brilliance, but I really don't value their attitude, their abrasiveness. Like, I don't value that, and therefore I would not entertain them when it comes to dating or friendship. That doesn't mean the other person ain't valuable. That doesn't mean that. And it doesn't mean I'm saying the other person isn't valuable. It just means I'm saying, oh, okay. So when it comes to relationships, when it comes to friendships, what I really care about is a personality that feels really compatible with me. That's what I really care about. That's my own sense of value. That doesn't invalidate another person. So with that same mindset, you can then reflect it back onto yourself. Because a job doesn't value you, because an industry doesn't value you, because a person don't value you, that does not mean you ain't valuable. It means their sense of value and your sense of value are two distinct things, and maybe they're not compatible. That's all it means. It's okay to not take incompatibility personal. It's not personal. It's just like it's not personal when you're not feeling something. There's so many times people, you know, might be drawn to me, might want to be my friend, and I'm just not feeling it. It does not say anything about them. And that's why, and you know what? That's why I don't like to call people ugly or unattractive or annoying, or I don't like to even give those descriptors to people, because what I think about you is not what somebody else is gonna think about you. Somebody else might think that's cute. Somebody else might like it, and I don't want you to think that because I think it's, you know, the all meaning of life. No. That's not what this is. I'm very aware of people having the tendency to negatively automate, because I've had the tendency to negatively automate, and I've had to work through it within myself. So I try to be very careful telling people how I feel about them if the way I feel about them is not necessarily positive. And I used to not be good at that. Like, I used to be very, very blunt with the truth. I used to be like, yeah, your ass ain't cute. Like, I used to. But now I have much more capacity for holding nuance and for understanding just human nature. Look, we all here to be loved at the end of the day. That's what we here to do. We just want to be loved, and ain't nothing wrong with that. But the thing is that you've got to love yourself. You've got to love yourself. And in order to love yourself, you've got to start paying attention to you. And that's really what this comes down to. I hope that was helpful. I'll see y'all on the next one.